Welcome to Aaron Plays. In this video, I'll be discussing and introducing a series that I'd like to do quite a few episodes, hopefully, of in the near future. The game I want to go through is one called Rangers of Shadowdeep, done by Joseph A. McCulloch. This is a solo stroke cooperative as designed as a miniatures game. However, I will not be using miniatures. I'll be using a system called Roll20, using a desktop virtual role-playing table. I will design the maps, the counters for the game, and be running it from a virtual desktop position. The reason why is I'm doing that rather than the miniatures. I do have quite a few miniatures. I have played the first couple of scenarios with miniatures. However, it takes up a lot of space. And the advantage of the virtual desktop is when I don't have the time, I can just pause the game, save it, and then restart again a couple of days, a week later, which I definitely can't do with my table situation at the present moment, because the table I use is the table I eat off, write on, etc. So due to space limitations, sorry about the camera there, so I have a life of its own. I am going to be using the virtual tabletop. So why Rangers of Shadowdeep? Well, it's a continuing quest of mine to find the ultimate solo dungeon fantasy crawl. And I played Frostgrave with other players, so I'm not the same person, and the system does have a Frostgrave feel to it. As I say, I've been trying various systems. I played Gloomhaven solo. Too much work. I tried Swords and Sorcery. Too much work. I tried 4 Against Darkness. Thoroughly enjoyed that. But it didn't have enough meat on it for me. So I tried this when it first came out and thoroughly enjoyed it. And I played it cooperative as well with a couple of people down the actual gaming club. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But then my situation changed. As I say, keeping miniatures set up on a table, I didn't have that facility anymore. And it just sat and nothing was done with it. And it was only as I was playing with my Gussgard 2 Cry Havoc scenario that I thought, oh, this works solo. It needed something. I was making too many decisions, and I thought, can I do something to take that decision tree or make it less for myself? Playing best both sides, I always end up with that situation. Oh, I know what they're going to do, so I won't do. And it just a little bit. So, and then I thought, I know, Rangers of Shadowdeep. It's got a basic AI in there that works. Use that. So I then sat there for, well, actually I didn't sit there. It was one of those sort of situations, lying in bed, can't get to sleep, brain's going, I wonder if I can use that. I wonder if that will work. And I'm still to actually try that. But whilst I was doing that, I suddenly thought, why not use, because I do a role-playing game once a week using Roll20. I'm playing Traveller and thoroughly enjoying that, and I use the virtual tabletop, and I'd put maps out and make maps for that because I'm the GM. And I suddenly thought, why not make some maps up from the scenarios that are in the book, and run it and play it solo. And then I thought, well, yeah, I could do it solo, but I'd like to, well, I've decided I've asked my daughter if she would like to join in to make a Ranger and run it and play it, and she's prepared to give it a go. So I might start off with a pair of us, and we'll see. She's not been on a YouTube channel before, so it could be interesting, and it could end up with just me doing it, or the two of us will continue. So that's the core rule book, Rangers of Shadow Deep. The rules themselves are quite straightforward. They cover about the first 90 odd pages and go into details about how to run a scenario, how to create a Ranger. The Rangers are normally accompanied by some companions, and how to run the AI. And literally the AI is 3 simple steps, but from what I remember playing the game, it's pretty good. It sort of makes sense. Then the second half of the book goes on how to play campaigns, and which are obviously linked scenarios. You got the Ranger's progression plus his companions, and then it goes into how to link these scenarios into missions, and how these missions then are also linked, starting with the Ranger from level 1 all the way through up to, well, as high as they can go. Now, in the actual core book, there's 3 basic missions. If you want 3 basic scenarios. Oh, now this is where I've got to get the glasses. I read at the same time. So yeah, there's 3 missions. I think there might be 2 scenarios per mission. So that's 6 scenarios in the core. And then there's another 9 scenarios, which are part of a campaign that comes in the core book called Burning Lights. And I've never even touched that. So I plan to start right at the beginning, scenario 1 of mission 1, and just go through it and see what happens. Now, I've also picked up 2 of their expansions, mini booklets. You've got Blood Moon, okay, which by the looks of it is all about werewolves, and Temple of Madness. Okay, so yeah, I've picked these up, had them printed out, and they are done by print on demand via Roleplay DRG, or Drive Through Roleplay thing website, and they're not too expensive. As I say, it's print on demand, and there's about 4 or 5 other booklets on there, which, if I thoroughly enjoy, as I say, I've only ever played the first 3 scenarios, so it will be a voyage of discovery for me as well. Now, some of the things on here are secret until you're playing. So once I'm playing the game, I will be putting up spoiler alerts. You know, if you're wanting to play these scenarios yourself, this one has got spoilers in it, etc. Because my aim is to show you the game, show you how it works, and hopefully encourage you to go out and get it, play it yourself. And I don't really want to like show everything and then it's like, well, okay, I know what's going to happen. There's quite a few random events in the game, and so how well you do in one mission affects your starting in other missions, and so on. So what I'm going to show now is the Roll20, what it looks like, and how I started it off, and how I've got to where I am at the present moment in time. So here I am now on the Roll20 virtual table. So the first thing is I looked at was, okay, so what am I going to use, squares or hexagons? So I decided to use hexes, and I wanted to use a scale of 1 hex equals 1 inch. Therefore, most of the scenarios are either a 2 foot by 5 foot board or a 3 foot board, which equates to 30 or 36 hexes square. So that's what I did. I made if I just zoom out of here, Okay, I made a default dummy board. There you go, 2 foot by 2.5 foot by 2.5 foot, which works to say 30 hexes by 30 hexes. Put a green background on, yeah, basic. I also did one, I'll move it on to here, which is 3x3. I'll put myself on the board, yeah. Okay, so that one there is 36. Yeah, 36 by 36. So a little bit bigger, but again, using the same principle. Hex is 1 hex is 1 inch. So therefore, any characters move, which might be 6 inches, is 6 hexes. 1 character per hex. So then I decided, right, okay, so I've got the baseboard. So let's have a look at scenario 1, which is called the Deserted Village. And this is what I came up with. Okay, so let's just move me a little bit to the side and zoom in a little bit on that. Okay, now as yet I haven't made up my ranger. This is just a dummy ranger at the present moment. And let me just make me a little bit smaller. We can focus a little bit. There we go, shrinking me. Okay, so I can move obviously in and around. As I zoom out a little bit. Okay, now this map took me about an hour to make up. So what I will do is make up each scenario's map as I'm getting to it. So that's the deserted village. The ranger starts in the center, and I'll go through all that kind of detail as and when I actually play the scenario. Now, the way I plan to do it is myself and my daughter will make our rangers up, and we will then make our companions and then start the scenario. So one of the videos will be literally us making up characters and for the game, and then explaining some of the rules as we go through them in the game. What the characters look like, let me just bring up, again, this is not the character I will be playing as yet, but they have their own little icon, and that's the character sheets. So they have various stats, obviously names, and these stats will be filled out as we make them, and their abilities and such forth. So that's what the character sheets look like. Down here, I've got the cards. This is for the random event, so I can draw a card out onto the table, and it tells me what the random event is, and I can then re-put that back in the table somewhere along here. There you go, recall. So I can recall the cards, and they go back in the deck. I've also created another deck here at the bottom, which is for me recording the game turns. First scenario has 8 turns. So that's it, really, from the map point of view. I say I've got the buildings. This here is just a field with obviously hedges around it. And these here are various different trees. There's a wagon here that can actually move if they decide to do anything with that. We decide to do anything with that. This here I've done with slightly different kind of trees and undergrowth to show that is actually the edge of a wood. So that's my map. That's the format I'll be using. You can see the hexagons are quite vague. These always move to the hexagons. There are some rules that talk about figures in contact. So I'm going to have to work out a way to show a person in contact. Because it's when they're actually, obviously, if they were playing with miniatures, their bases are bang touching each other. So they could be, you know, if you've got an enemy figure, let me bring on an enemy figure, why not? Let's see. Okay, so I just brought a kobold onto the field here. So again, I can zoom out or zoom in. Let's zoom in. Okay. So as you can see, here he is. And there's various ways to give him stats and such forth. Now, if he's standing adjacent there, that's technically an inch apart. So I'm going to have to show something to show that they're actually physically in actual combat with each other. Because figures can move when they're an inch apart, though there's rules about challenging and bringing other characters into a fight. But I need to have something to show that they are in face-to-face contact rather than just an inch apart. But I think that's the only little foil that I've got to overcome from both a visual point of view. Yeah, I say I've got buildings, I've got trees, I've got a board that I can play this all on. But I'm going to give this a whirl because now I can play the game hopefully with people. Say, door two. It is a little distance away. We can play this using the virtual tabletop. So yeah, that's what I plan to do. So the next video, I will be going through some of the rules and character creation. And as I say, hopefully I will be ably assisted by my daughter. So let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Is this of interest to any of you? So effectively, it's a solo fantasy miniatures war game. So it can be played solo or up between 1 to 4 players. So yeah, that's what one of my little projects I want to do, and I hope you guys will be interested. Let me know. Comments always appreciated. Hit the like and the subscribe. You all know what to do with those things. So until next time.